The tiny Christmas tree on the table blinked in the darkness, its weak golden lights reflecting in Daniel's tired eyes as snow buried the world outside his window. His daughter was asleep in the next room, clutching a worn-out teddy bear, unaware that her father was counting the last few dollars in his wallet and wondering how he had failed her. The house was silent, except for the ticking clock and the quiet sound of his own regret. Christmas Eve had never felt this lonely. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the quiet miracles that happen when hope feels lost, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel Grandma Dearie. Your support keeps these stories alive. Daniel had once been the man who stayed late at the office, chasing promotions and praise, believing hard work alone could secure his family's future. But life had shifted brutally the year his wife passed away unexpectedly, leaving him with a 5-year-old daughter named Lily, and a mountain of responsibilities he had never been prepared to carry alone. He became mother and father in the same breath. He learned how to braid hair by watching online videos. He burned dinners. He forgot school forms. But he never forgot to kiss Lily goodnight. At work, however, things were not so gentle. The company had been struggling, and rumors of layoffs floated through the office like invisible smoke. Daniel worked under a new CEO, a woman named Victoria Hale, known for her sharp decisions and even sharper expectations. She was respected, feared, and whispered about in hallways. To Daniel, she was a distant figure who lived in glass offices and corporate meetings. He never imagined their worlds would collide. 2 weeks before Christmas, Daniel made a mistake. Exhausted after staying up all night with Lily during a fever, he miscalculated a report that cost the company a client. It wasn't catastrophic, but in a struggling company, even small errors felt unforgivable. He was called into a meeting. Victoria sat across from him, her expression unreadable. He expected anger, maybe even termination. Instead, she asked him why someone as consistent as him would suddenly slip. Daniel hesitated, pride swallowing his truth. He simply apologized and accepted responsibility. She nodded, dismissed him, and that was that. But the distance between them lingered. On Christmas Eve, Daniel had promised Lily they would celebrate properly. He had bought a tiny artificial tree from a discount store. He wrapped a simple coloring book and crayons as her main gift. He made hot chocolate from the last packet in the cupboard. When Lily fell asleep after whispering that Santa would surely come, Daniel sat alone on the couch, staring at the snow gathering outside. He felt like he had failed not just at work, but at life. The world moved forward, glittering and festive, while he felt frozen in grief and quiet desperation. Midnight approached. The knock on the door was sudden and firm, echoing through the still house. Daniel's heart jumped. He wasn't expecting anyone. For a moment, fear crept in. He stood slowly, walking toward the door, his mind racing with possibilities. When he opened it, the cold winter air rushed in, and standing there, wrapped in a dark wool coat with snow resting on her shoulders, was Victoria Hale. She looked different outside the office, less corporate, more human. Daniel's confusion was evident. Why would the CEO of his company stand on his doorstep at midnight on Christmas? Victoria's eyes softened as she stepped inside, brushing snow from her hair. In her hands were several gift bags and a small, carefully wrapped box. She had gone through employee files earlier that week, reviewing performance and personal records. She had noticed Daniel's emergency contact listed as none. She had seen the note about his wife's passing. She had quietly asked HR about his situation and learned about his daughter. And something about the way he had taken responsibility in that meeting without excuses had stayed with her. It reminded her of her own father, who had raised her alone after her mother left, sacrificing quietly without applause. Victoria admitted she had driven around for an hour before gathering the courage to knock. She told him that leaders often talk about numbers but forget the people behind them. She handed him the gift bags. Inside were toys for Lily, groceries, and a holiday bonus envelope that Daniel hadn't expected. It wasn't charity, she explained. It was appreciation. Good employees were not defined by one mistake, and good fathers were heroes in disguise. Daniel felt his throat tighten. Pride battled gratitude, but gratitude won. He had spent months carrying everything alone, refusing help because he believed strength meant silence. Yet here was someone who had seen him, not as a flawed employee, but as a struggling father trying his best. Victoria asked if she could see the tree. They stood by the small table where the tiny Christmas tree glowed bravely in the dim room. She reached out and adjusted one crooked ornament while Daniel watched, still trying to process the surreal moment. The house, which had felt suffocatingly empty an hour before, now felt warmer, human, alive. In the quiet that followed, Victoria shared that success had cost her relationships, that she had built walls so high around herself that she no longer remembered what holidays felt like. She had no family nearby, no one waiting for her at home. For the first time, Daniel saw not a CEO, but a woman who had also sacrificed pieces of her heart in pursuit of survival. Upstairs, Lily stirred and walked sleepily into the living room, rubbing her eyes. She froze when she saw a stranger, then noticed the gift bags. Victoria knelt gently, introducing herself simply as a friend from her father's office. When Lily smiled shyly, something shifted in the room. It was the kind of pure, unguarded smile that melts even the most disciplined hearts. They opened one small gift together, a stuffed snowman with a red scarf. Lily hugged it tightly, whispering that Santa must have needed help this year. Daniel felt tears burn behind his eyes. For the first time in months, the weight on his chest eased. Outside, the snow continued to fall, but inside, something new was forming. Not romance in the dramatic sense, but connection, understanding, and the fragile beginning of trust. Victoria stayed for a cup of hot chocolate, sitting on the modest couch, no longer the powerful executive towering over him, but simply a woman sharing warmth on a cold night. Before leaving, she told Daniel that the company would be launching a new project in the new year, and she wanted him leading it. Not because she pitied him, but because she believed in him. People who endure pain and still show up, she said, are the strongest leaders of all. After she left, Daniel stood by the window, watching her car disappear into the snowy street. The house was quiet again, but not lonely. He looked at the tiny tree, at Lily sleeping peacefully with her new snowman, and felt something he hadn't allowed himself to feel in a long time: hope. Christmas had not changed his past. It had not erased his grief or struggles, but it had reminded him that even in the darkest hours, someone might be quietly noticing your strength. That kindness can knock when you least expect it. That second, chances arrive softly like falling snow. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, and comment to support the channel Grandma Dearie. Your engagement helps spread messages of hope and kindness to others who may need it tonight.